This is my latest purchase on eBay. It's a cutter that will cut paper, material, all that sort of thing. 9.6 volts. Uses NiCd batteries. So it's 9.6 volts, and you can just make out there it says about recycling and CD on it for cadmium. Now, it did come with that, and that is very substantial. And it says 7.2 to 14.4 volts, and obviously it's 4 NiCd batteries. And you can put this battery in there and it will charge it up. And I did that about 2 weeks ago. And you could use it. I mean, there's no doubt about it, you could use it. But look, this is what happens. I'll get this out of the way. Once you've left this standing for a little while, nothing. It's dead. So that battery is dead. But it will charge up and run the tool as if there's nothing wrong with the tool and as if there's nothing wrong with the battery. But it just doesn't hold the charge. So we just need to pull the battery off. It's got an old-fashioned system that Bosch used quite a lot on their early drills as well. It's just a metal clip, but it's great. I mean, you won't get that battery off easily, so it's not going to fall off. Right, and it's a fair size for a battery. And there you are, Bosch 9.6. Says 9.6 NTC. I don't know if that's trying to tell you that it can measure temperature or something, or I don't know what NTC means. And at the moment I don't know how you get this apart. I was hoping to find some screws. Some of these have screws in the end here. That one definitely doesn't, so it looks like we've got to poke something down the side here. Let's try poking my knife down the side there. I hate that when they're like that, because there's always a very high likelihood that the plastic will split when you start trying to pry things apart. Right, of course you're in the way of me doing this, so what I'll do is I'll get you out of the way and I'll bring you back once I've managed to loosen this. Right, I'll show you something so that you at least know what I'm on about. When I go like this down here, on the other side, it just slides along. But on this side, if I go along like that and I keep going, you see it just jumps in as if it's gone in. And I don't know why, because I don't understand why, but along there, something has come a little bit loose. Now I've put a little bit of IPA around it. I don't know if that's made any difference or not, but something is slightly loose this side that isn't loose on the other side. Right, I'm making progress, because if you look at this, I can get that in there and I can lift that a little bit, and it's starting to lift at this end, but this end you can see it's beginning to break up and it doesn't want to lift. And around the side here I've managed to get into there, so I think I'm pretty much okay all the way around. It's just this front piece that doesn't want to move. Right, I think I finally got it. Did a bit of damage. I haven't got another one of these to do, but if I had another one I would suggest this is the point of attack, because if you can get started here, that seems to be the weakest side, but if you can get started here you can get something underneath there and start to pry it up. And it looks like they friction weld it or glue it, but as you can see it is coming apart. But that's what we've got. and that goes on there, so somehow we've got to tidy that up. We've got a bit of sponge on the bottom and that. Right, so the only bit that we actually need from this is the top. I'm just going to try and drill out as best I can. I don't care if I accidentally slip through and hit anything underneath, because we're throwing the batteries away anyway. Let's see if that will help us get, let's get a small screwdriver in underneath some of these. Oh, that's beginning to lift. That one's lifting. Oh, there goes it. That's that one. Alright, that's that. So that's the positive off. That's half. I'm halfway there. Oh, there we go. That's true to the other side. What's that? That's still catching on something. Oh, there it goes. So that's the negative side. And then this is still attached in here. So we just need to get that. Oh, there we are. Oh, that was easy to get off. So that's just caught up in there. Let's put the tape off of here. So this now should lift off, and it does. So they're the bits that we need, and this we don't need. And what we need to know is, can we get 3 lithium-ion batteries in there? Well, we've got a bit of foam in the bottom. I don't think that's going to matter too much. 3 18650s. I'll just put those in there. I'll put that on. That seems to be on all the way around, and they're not a tight fit, and obviously there's now nothing in there at all. I possibly could have a battery in there, and then the next one there like that, but I really don't see that it makes that much difference. I might as well just put the batteries in there, BMS in with them, this up on the top there, a couple of wires. So I think we just need to make this into a 12 volt battery that can sit in there. Right, if we start here with this would be our naught. So that's +4 up there, so that's going to go across to this one, which would be +4. So by the time it got down to this end it would be +8. So if we then, that's a plus at that end, so we need a minus, so this one at this end will join onto there, and that one will be 8, so that when we get to the top we've got 12. So that will be our 12 out. We just need to glue these together. I've never tried a little bit of super glue on anything like this, so I'll just try a little bit of that and see what that does. Oh. Probably nothing that would stick my fingers together. Oh, it does seem to have worked a tiny bit, so I'm just going to put a little drop along there and a little drop along there. And let's see if we can get this one to sit there. Because like I say, it hasn't got to do a fantastic job, it's just got to hold it all in one place while we, well, the terminals on. Because obviously we need to do solder connections from one to the other. That one will just need something to a wire. Naught down here will need something for a wire, so that's going to be naught, that's going to be 12 plus. So we just need to join this one to this one to give us 4 across there, and then this one to this one to give us 8 across there. So it's starting to stick. I think it probably has. So we need to join that one to that one across there, and then at the other end we need to join this one to this one across there. And we could do with some little sticky pads, because I've already had a slight mishap and touched that with the positive. So we could do with some sticky pads on there. Some of these. So you want that on there. I'll just protect that end, and I'll have to move my marks. So there's my 2 marks that I've got to go across there like that. And then this way. Oh. So that on there. That's going to go across there. And then it probably wouldn't hurt to put one on here for when we bring our tab out for the wire, because that will be our 12 volt point, so that's going to need a tab just to sort of sit like that, so we've got something to solder to. But at the moment we want that on there to join those two together. Right, so we just need to get those onto there. Right, that's that on. And then we need one across there, like that. And with a bit of luck we can hold it still with the pen. Right, that now should be 12 volts. So let's stick that on there. If we put minus on the bottom here and that on there, and we've got 12.4. So yep, we've got our 12 volts. I don't think we're going to want this temperature sensor, so what I'm going to do is strip that off there, pull that out. That can sit in there and that will stay there, and that will go in there. And again, I'm going to try a little spot of glue. Again, I don't know if this will work, but it might help hold everything still while other things get done. I might end up regretting that, of course. But so that is going to sit in there like that, and then this one is going to sit in here like that. And the reason I'm doing that is because I tried turning it upside down just now without anything holding things, and of course they just fall out. And I just need them to stay still long enough so that I can decide that that's exactly what I want. That one's going there. I've lost track of which one's plus and which one's minus. I think that one might have been plus and that one might have been minus, but we can work that out before we assemble it. But obviously now I need to solder on a wire there and a wire here, so I will need to know which is plus and which is minus. Now if I look at this, T for temperature sensor, so that's going to go that way round, so that's going to sit in there like that, and when that sits in there like that, this side is plus. So this one is our plus side and this side is minus. So I'll put a minus sign on that side as well and a plus sign on that side. Right, sort of orangey red wire for plus and black wire for minus. I'll just get some solder onto there. Let's try this one. This one going to stick any better? Oh, that one's stuck a little bit better. That's strange. I'd like a little bit more over that side. Oh, that's a bit better this time. There must be some oily, dirty stuff on there that's stopping it sticking well. Right, this is a 5S BMS 100 amp, supposedly. I want to use it as a 3S, so the first thing I need to do is short out B1 and B2 to B minus, because I'm only going to use B3, B4 and what would be B5, but they call it B plus. So I need to solder a connection across to B2 like that, and that needs to also go across to B1 like that, and it needs to end up over here at B minus, and then we can cut that off. Right, so now in theory B minus, which is going to be our sort of 0 point, is connected to B1 and B2, but it's not connected to B3, B4 and B5, and they're the three terminals we will use to work this thing. That's what we hope. Now we need to set these tiny little points up here. Now here's one that's already been set for B4, and it's very, very, very difficult to see, but when it's this way round, to the left is where I've soldered the pins together. So I've put a jumper across those two little pins there. For 3 I need to go the other way, so I need to go from the middle to the right. So I will need a connection, and again I apologise that I haven't got anything that you can see on, but I need a connection from this side over here to the middle point over there, and it needs to be a very small piece of wire. So we need that very small piece of wire to sit there. Now if you're saying, watching this, I can barely see that, join the club. I can barely see that. There's my tiny little bit of wire. Can I even pick that up now? There we go. Put that down on there. I suppose it's something to do with surface tension, but it would rather stick to the soldering iron. Right, that might be on there. Not quite sure how we're going to tell. Right, it's hard to show this, but if I touch those, that's continuity. And what we're trying to do is get this pin on this side connected to that pin, which is the B minus, and we've got continuity, so hopefully our soldering has worked and we've actually got a connection. Right, I'm going to try and solder this onto what would be B minus, and then I'm going to try to spot weld that onto B minus on the battery. So wish me luck. Get a tiny bit of solder on the underneath of here as well, that might help. And in theory, if we can get that onto there, I'm bound to end up with burnt fingers, but apart from that, let's get something to help hold that still. Oh, it's ridiculous, isn't it? Look, it's not even melting it. I just don't understand this soldering iron. Come on, melt! It's just not getting enough heat into this part of the circuit board. I think the circuit board's just sucking all the heat away. I'm pushing it down as hard as I can, so I think in some spots where I'm pushing it hard, perhaps we're getting some heat into there and it is actually working. It does seem ridiculous. How can it not be putting enough heat into there? Well, we just have to hope that's enough. Right, so that's soldered onto there, so we should be able to spot weld that on there, and that should be our knoll on. We're going to charge and bring power out from P minus, I think. I think that's probably going to be okay, so we'll charge and bring power out at the same point, but obviously we'll try it and we'll see. Now obviously this has got to fit in here, which it sort of does, so I think we're on target there. That gives us our 0 point. This gives us 12, and now we have this we've got to put in there. So we need this in there without it all falling apart. And it's not going. Why are you not going? Oh, it is now. Right, so that would be our temperature sensor that we're not using. That's marked plus and it says plus there. That's marked minus and it says minus there, so that all agrees. Right, now we need some way of holding those in there so that they can't move. Right, I usually use a piece of water pipe to jam these things in, so I can't see any reason not to do that. Can't quite get exactly where I need to mark it, but if I cut it more or less there. So we need 2 pieces and somewhere around here. Right, this is a pipe cutter intended for copper pipe, but I find that if you roll it around a few times and keep tightening it, it does the job. And there we go. And it gives you quite a nice cut end, because there's the cut end that I cut with a proper pair of cutters, and there's the cut end with the pipe that I just did, and that's better. Right, actually I'll probably put it that way. So if that goes in there, yep, and that's almost exactly flush, so we just want another one the same as that. While I'm waiting for the hot melt glue gun to warm up, I'm just going to put this tab on here, because this will be our 12 volts out. Yep, that's on. Right, 2 little bits of plastic pipe. So one can go down the negative side, one can go down the positive side, and then we're just going to put some hot melt glue on those so that they keep everything held in there tight. It doesn't matter, they don't have to look beautiful, they just have to hold everything in place. So if that's in the middle there and that's in the middle there, that should do us. Right, let's see if we can get a bit of glue on here. Bring that forward a fraction, and then I'll try and squirt some down in there. Always ends up all over the wire, of course, which is what I don't particularly want, but still. Right, and I'll push that one over there a bit. I want it to sit flat so it's actually putting pressure underneath. I don't really care about the wire. Because if you imagine it, when you're pulling this in and out, there's a tendency as you push this in to try and dislodge these things. It's never actually happened, but I'm assuming that that's what you're trying to prevent. That's why I put these in here in the first place. So I just want them to sit down, oh that's burning my finger, sit down like that. Right, now they've done that, I'll put a little bit more. That should do us. Right, we need to wire the BMS to the actual batteries now, so we've just got 3 connections to make. That's B+, which is going to go round and end up on my sticky out tab that's round here for the 12 volts. Next we need one for here, so that's 12 volts, so we need one for 8 volts, and we need to check which end's got 8 volts on it now. I can't remember which end is which. There's 8 volts. So what we need is connect there. So if we put a drop of solder in the middle there, I don't need much. Bit of solder on the end of this wet wire. Come on. Now we can put that and it can come round here and up. Somewhere there will be plenty. So we just need strip the end of that. Put a drop of solder on the end of there, and then that is our next one. Let's try holding it with the tweezers. It keeps trying to spring up in the air away from me. There we go, so that's on there. Right, 4 volts is at the other end, so what we'll do is we'll put that on there first, and then I think we'll go under those two, not that it really makes any difference. We'll go along there, and then that must be 4. If I look around for my numbers, yep, there's a 4 there, so that must be 4. So that could really come down and up and across to about there. And that'll give us plenty of room. Right. Put a bit of solder on the end of that. A bit of solder in the middle there. And then we should be able to encourage that to go on there like that. So that just means that we haven't got 12 on yet, which is this one. And that's going to go on somewhere around here, which is where we're going to connect to the output. So although I'm soldering this on now, as soon as I try and solder the output wire on, this one's going to fall off. So you'll be able to say to me, that one's going to fall off, and it is. Never mind, we'll just get it on for now. Put a bit more solder on because we know we've got a big chunky thing coming at some point. But that's just going to fall off, isn't it, when we heat it up next time. Right, so that's on there. Right, let's just plonk that in there. Now we should then be able to put that on there, and then we should be able to put that on the naught, and so this point here should be our 4 volts, which it isn't. Oh, which it is. Not getting a good connection. And that point there should be 8 volts, which it is, and that point there, come on, should be 12 volts, which it is. But do we have 12 volts getting through to here? We want to know if power is getting from over here to over there. And it is, so they're both connected. So it looks like all our connections are working. We just need this minus connected to the minus output, and this plus connected to battery plus. So that's what we need to do next. We need to get that on there. But right, so that is going to go on there. Then this is getting hot, as you can probably guess. So that is going on there, like that. So that's our output there. Just give you a bit more room so that I can get in here. Let's get all the bits of Play-Doh out of the way. And so this is going on there. And we know what's going to happen as soon as we try and get this on there. Ouch, that's hot. That one that's already on there is going to try and unsolder itself. Get out of the way. And that's going to try and bend away, and my fingers are going to get burnt. So we've got a whole load of things that we know are going to happen, but they're just going to happen regardless. Oh! Right, I've resorted to the helping hands because clearly I was not born with enough hands. But even that is not necessarily the answer because I can see it trying to spring apart. But I think that has all gone on. Now, all things considered, if everything is working properly, we've got 12 volts here. Put that on there, and then that is minus, this is plus. Oh, I can't get a decent connection. Oh, there we are, there's our 12.41 we've had all along. So we've got 12 volts. So last thing, we've got to make all this fit in there. Right, it's sitting on its box upside down. I've wedged some bits of foam in and around it, I would tape it up, but I'm worried that it's not all going to fit in there tidily if I tape it up. So that has got to go like that, whereas if, of course, if I do it like this, I can go down and I can use my fingers to feed the foam around, which I have done, and we're on. And it's trying to spring away, which is good, which means that we're probably pressed on the foam at the bottom. So we just need that now to be there and to be stuck. Now, I don't know what the best glue to use for this will be, because I don't know if this gap is going to be a little bit too wide or whether that gap is acceptable for putting good old super glue on. And of course I've more like glued my fingers together than with anything else than I do with super glue, but there you go. I found a couple of squashy things. It's not really going to reach the middle, I don't think, but still, that's as far over as we can get it, I think. And if I do that, if that has squashed, you probably can't see from your angle, but it has squashed the side in a bit, so I'm going to try get a bit of super glue down there. I'll probably find that my grippy things now are going to be glued on, aren't they? Never mind, we'll worry about that later. Get a little bit down there, and then we'll try a little bit along this back edge, because that looks reasonably tight. What about this front edge? We can't see. No, I think that's going to require some pushing in at some stage. Oh, it's run along there anyway, so that's could almost do with another clamp on it at this end. Whoops, there goes the glue. Let's see if we can just get a bit of squeeze on this end. Right, this has had 5-10 minutes, I don't know, so hopefully it's glued-ish. Of course it weighs nothing now, as it's only got 3 lithium-ion batteries in it. The glue seems to melt the plastic, which is interesting, so maybe it will actually melt the plastic together. It doesn't look terrible. I mean, it might look better on film than it does in real life, but it doesn't look terrible. Right, so the proof of the pudding. There's our tool. Now of course this little bit more than 9.6 volts, but I don't think it's going to make a huge amount of difference. That has got to go in there, which it does. I think that's as far as it goes in, isn't it? Yeah. I don't think it can go any further, so I think that must be in. Yeah, well, that clicks on nice. Whoa! We're in business. Let's find a cloth. This is one of my wife's t-shirts. Oh, it's got £2.50 sticker on it. I don't think that's anything to do with the t-shirt though. Right, let's try sticking this into that end. I'm not actually destroying my wife's t-shirt because of course she's actually throwing it away. So I'm going to turn it into a rag. Oh my god, that is so smooth and easy. Look at that. Oh wow. Look at that. Oh well, when it comes to cutting up my wife's clothes, this is exactly what you need. So if you're thinking of divorcing your wife and you want to chop up her clothes, you need one of these. Look at this. Of course, if I wasn't a complete idiot, I'd know how to do it better, but you can see that and the cut is really good. And if you try to do that, to give an example of how good this is, these are quite good scissors. So you can see. But where it's got caught there and it's hit a double piece, it's stopped then. Go through there okay, but look, can you see? It's not happy straight away, look. because it's got buckled over, and again it's got caught on a piece underneath. So with the scissors, if you can keep everything nice so it can just snip through, you're okay. But when you get to the joint like this, they don't like it. I mean, heavier duty scissors wouldn't mind, obviously, but these don't like it. And these are actually not bad scissors. I mean, I might have even done a video of sharpening these, I can't remember. But this thing, it's in a different league altogether, isn't it? Look, whoosh! It doesn't care that that has been stitched at all. So, I mean, if I want to, obviously look at that, look. And that bit's sort of got multiple stitchy bits. Right, so there you are. Perfect. Need a label. This is now 0.6, it's not 9.6. It's give or take a little bit. It's either 10.8 or 12 volts, depending on how you want to look at it. And this NTC does seem to refer to, where's it gone? It was here just now. Oh, anyway, I've lost it now. But it refers to that little temperature sensor that we found on the battery. So obviously it hasn't got that anymore. Right. So we could, I don't know what GUS stands for, but we could lose the 9.6. So we need something else there, not 9.6. And then of course round here it's not 9.6 anymore. And don't worry, I will try and come up with something better than this. It's not NTC anymore. We'll ignore that bit because it's obviously should be recycled, but it's lithium ion now, so it's not cadmium. Don't mix it with fish. Don't mix it with fire. Don't put it in the bin. Don't get it hot. I think those things will still apply, won't they? So we just need to get rid of this, that, and then, oh, it's on this side as well. Why didn't you tell me? We need to get rid of that. So we just need a sticker or something on there, and we'll call it 10.8 or 12. Now, this came with this. I'm going to rip the innards out of this and convert it so that it will charge just that battery. At the moment it will charge anything from 7.2 volts to 14.4 volts, but it's meaningless because they would be NiCd batteries and I don't have any NiCd batteries. So I'm going to rip all of this out, so this is not going to be the case anymore because it's going to become 12 volt or 10.8 depending on what literature you want to read. I wasted a couple of hours this morning. I've made a sticker for there so it now says Bosch lithium ion 12 volts. I made one for the battery so that now says Bosch lithium ion 12 volts. And then I made new ones for the side. I still don't know what GUS means, but it now says Bosch lithium ion GUS 12 volts, and then there it says 12 volts 4700. I left the 4700 there. It was 9.6 4700, so that's probably going to run a bit faster now.